The water wasn't even running yet when I heard him say my name. Not the casual "hey man" or the joking "dude" we'd been using for 8 years, my actual name, soft, uncertain, like he was testing how it felt in his mouth. I was standing outside the gym shower stall, towel around my waist, still catching my breath from our basketball game. We'd been coming to this gym every Thursday night since sophomore year of college. It was our thing, our tradition, the one constant through breakups and job changes and all the chaos of our mid-20s. Yeah, I called back, reaching for the shower handle in my own stall. Silence, just the echo of water dripping somewhere down the row of tiles. Never mind, he finally said. That should have been my first clue that something was different. That tonight was going to split my life into before and after. But I was tired and sweaty and thinking about the leftover pizza in my fridge, so I turned on the water and let it wash away the thought. His name was Marcus. 6'2", all lean muscle and easy smiles. The kind of guy who made friends with everyone without trying. He'd been dating Jessica for 3 years and I'd watched them be disgustingly happy together while I cycled through a string of failed relationships and awkward first dates. I'd been in love with him since junior year. Not that he knew, not that anyone knew. You don't tell your straight best friend that every time he laughs at your jokes, your chest gets tight. You don't mention that you've memorized the exact shade of brown in his eyes, or that sometimes when he falls asleep during movie nights, you let yourself look at him for just a few seconds longer than you should. You definitely don't tell him that you've imagined what it would be like to kiss him approximately 7,000 times. So I kept my secret, dated other guys, and pretended that being his best friend was enough. Most days I almost believed it. The water was scalding against my skin, turning it red. I closed my eyes and let my mind drift to nowhere in particular. Tomorrow was Friday. I had a date with some guy from the dating app. Daniel, David, I couldn't remember. He had a nice smile in his photos. That would have to be enough. Can I ask you something? I jumped, nearly slipping on the wet tiles. Marcus was in the stall next to mine, his voice barely audible over the spray of water. Jesus, you scared me, I said, pressing my hand against my racing heart. What's up? Another pause, longer this time. Do you ever feel like you're living the wrong life? The question hung in the steamy air between us. I turned off my water, suddenly very alert. What do you mean? Like, I could hear him take a shaky breath. Like you're playing a part, following a script someone else wrote, and everyone thinks you're doing great, but inside you're just screaming. This wasn't normal Marcus talk. Marcus was all surface level and easy jokes. We talked about sports and movies and whether pineapple belonged on pizza. We didn't do vulnerable. We didn't do deep. Mark, are you okay? Did something happen with Jess? I broke up with her. The words hit me like cold water. What's when? Tuesday. Tuesday? That was 3 days ago. Why didn't you tell me? I heard the shower turn off in his stall, the sound of him moving around, probably reaching for his towel. Because I didn't know how to explain why. My hands were shaking now. I grabbed my own towel and wrapped it around my waist, my mind racing. Marcus and Jessica were supposed to get married. She'd been showing me ring designs just last month. They had a 5-year plan. They were endgame. Marcus, what's going on? Get dressed, he said, his voice rough. Meet me in the parking lot. I need to tell you something, but not like this. The October air hit my damp skin like a slap. I'd thrown on my clothes so fast I hadn't bothered with socks, and my sneakers rubbed uncomfortably against my bare feet as I walked across the parking lot. Marcus was leaning against his car, the old Honda Civic he'd had since high school. The streetlight above him flickered, casting strange shadows across his face. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, hair still wet and messy. He was wearing his favorite gray hoodie, the one with the hole in the sleeve that Jessica had been trying to get him to throw away for years. Hey, I said softly, stopping a few feet away. He looked up at me and something in his expression made my stomach drop. I'd never seen him look like this, lost, terrified. I need you to not say anything until I'm done, he said. Okay, because if you interrupt me, I'll lose my nerve, and I've been trying to tell you this for 6 months. 6 months. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He took a deep breath, his hands shoved deep in his hoodie pocket. You remember that night in July when we went to that rooftop bar for your birthday? I remembered we'd gotten drunk on overpriced cocktails and laughed until our sides hurt. Jessica had been there and my date had been there, some guy named Ryan who I'd stopped seeing 2 weeks later. It had been a good night. You were talking to Ryan, Marcus continued, staring at the ground. And he said something that made you laugh, that real laugh you do, not the polite one, and you touched his arm just for a second. He paused, his jaw clenching, and I wanted to break his hand. My heart stopped. I told myself I was just being protective, that I didn't like the guy, that something about him seemed off. But then you went to the bathroom and he turned to me and said, "Man, your friend is amazing, I really like him." And I felt like I was going to be sick. He finally looked up at me, and his eyes were bright with unshed tears. I went home that night and I couldn't sleep. Jessica was right there next to me and all I could think about was you, about how Ryan got to touch your arm and make you laugh and how much I hated him for it, and that's when I knew. Knew what? I whispered, even though he'd told me not to interrupt. Even though I was pretty sure I knew the answer and it was going to destroy me. That I'm in love with you, the words came out in a rush. That I've been in love with you for years and I've been lying to myself about it. That every time you date someone I want to disappear. That when you told me about that guy you hooked up with last month I had to lock myself in the bathroom because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move, couldn't think, the parking lot was spinning. I know this is insane, he continued, the words tumbling out faster now. I know I'm supposed to be straight, I've had a girlfriend for 3 years, I've never been with a guy, I've never even thought about being with a guy except, he laughed a broken sound. Except it's all I think about now, you're all I think about. Marcus. I'm not done, he ran his hand through his hair, leaving it standing up in wild directions. I told Jessica the truth, that I couldn't marry her because I'm in love with someone else. She asked who and I couldn't lie to her, not after everything, so I told her it was you. Oh God, poor Jessica. She said she already knew, can you believe that? She said she'd known for months, that she could see the way I looked at you when I thought no one was watching. She told me I needed to tell you that I owed us both the truth. He wiped at his eyes roughly. So here I am, telling you, destroying our friendship and making everything weird because I'm selfish and I can't keep this inside anymore. He was crying now, really crying, and it broke something in me. I'm sorry, he choked out. I'm so sorry, I know you probably don't feel the same way, I know this is the last thing you wanted to hear, but I had to tell you, I had to. I kissed him. I don't remember deciding to do it. 1 second I was standing there, my world tilting on its axis, and the next I was crossing those few feet between us and pressing my lips against his. He froze for a heartbeat, then his hands were in my hair, pulling me closer, and he was kissing me back like he'd been drowning and I was air. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't sweet. It was 8 years of wanting and denying and pretending, all compressed into a single moment. His lips were soft and slightly chapped, and he tasted like the mint gum he always chewed. His hands were trembling against my face, and I could feel the rapid beat of his heart through his hoodie. When we finally broke apart, both gasping for breath, he stared at me with wide, disbelieving eyes. What? He started. You're an idiot, I said, my voice shaking. You're such an idiot. I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. No, you're an idiot because I've been in love with you since junior year of college. The confession felt like jumping off a cliff. That party at Kevin's house. You were wearing that ridiculous Hawaiian shirt and you spent the entire night making sure I was okay because I didn't know anyone. And I went home and I knew, I've known for 8 years. His mouth opened and closed, no sound came out. So yeah, I continued, laughing even though I felt like crying. You're an idiot for thinking I didn't feel the same way. 8 years, he repeated, his voice barely audible. You felt this way for 8 years and you never said anything. You had a girlfriend, you were straight, or I thought you were straight. I wasn't going to ruin our friendship by telling you I was in love with you. But I'm not, he said. Straight, I mean, or maybe I am, I don't know what I am, I just know that I'm in love with you and that feels more true than anything else in my life. We stood there in the flickering streetlight, staring at each other like we were seeing each other for the first time. So what now? I asked. He pulled me close again, wrapping his arms around me. I could feel his heart hammering against my chest. I don't know, he murmured into my hair. I've never done this before, any of this, I don't know how to be with a guy, I don't know if I'm any good at it. You were pretty good at that kiss. He laughed, the sound warm against my ear. Yeah. Yeah. We stayed like that for a long time, holding each other in the parking lot while moths circled the streetlight above us. Eventually, the cold became too much to ignore. Come back to my place, I said. We don't have to, we can just talk, figure this out. He nodded against my shoulder. Okay. My apartment was a mess. I'd left in a hurry that morning and there were coffee cups on the counter, yesterday's mail on the table, and a pile of unfolded laundry on the couch. Marcus had been here 1,000 times before, but suddenly I was seeing it through new eyes. Suddenly everything felt different. Sorry about the mess, I said, grabbing the laundry and dumping it in my bedroom. It's fine. He was standing in the middle of my living room, looking uncertain, like he didn't know where he belonged anymore. Beer, I offered. Yeah, thanks. I grabbed 2 bottles from the fridge and handed him one. Our fingers brushed and the contact sent electricity up my arm. Everything was heightened now. Every look, every touch, every breath felt significant. We sat on opposite ends of the couch, the space between us suddenly a canyon. This is weird, Marcus said after a long silence. Yeah. We should talk about it, about all of it. I took a long drink of beer, buying myself time. Okay, where do you want to start? He turned to face me, pulling one leg up onto the couch. When did you know about me? I mean, that I felt the same way. I didn't, not until tonight. I mean, sometimes I thought maybe, but then I'd see you with Jessica and I'd know I was just projecting, seeing what I wanted to see. I'm really good at lying to myself, he said quietly. I've had years of practice. Every time I caught myself staring at you, I'd tell myself it was just admiration, that I appreciated your sense of humor or your intelligence or whatever, that it was normal to want to spend all my time with your best friend. When did it change? When did you stop being able to lie to yourself? He was quiet for a moment, picking at the label on his beer bottle. Honestly, I think part of me always knew, but the night I really couldn't deny it anymore was about a year ago. You'd been on a date with that guy, the teacher. What was his name? Michael. Right, Michael, you came over after and you were so happy. You told me about the date, about how he'd taken you to that Italian place you love and you'd talked for hours. And you had this look on your face, this glow, and I felt like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed my heart. I remembered that night. Michael had been great on paper. We dated for 2 months before fizzling out. Jessica was at her sister's that weekend, Marcus continued. So you stayed over like you always do. We watched some terrible horror movie and fell asleep on the couch. And I woke up around 3 in the morning and you were curled up next to me, your head on my shoulder, and I thought, this is what I want, every night for the rest of my life. My throat was tight. What did you do? I panicked. I got up and went to my room and stared at the ceiling until dawn. Then I spent the next 3 months trying to prove to myself that I was wrong. I took Jessica on extra dates. I made sure we had sex more often. I threw myself into being the perfect boyfriend. He laughed bitterly. Didn't work. I'm sorry you went through that alone. I wasn't sure I could tell you. I thought I was so scared that you'd be disgusted, that you'd think I was using our friendship as some kind of cover, or that I was confused, or... Marcus, I set down my beer and moved closer to him. I could never be disgusted by you, never. Even though I'm a mess, even though I'm 27 years old and just figuring out that I like guys, even though I just blew up a 3-year relationship and I don't know what I'm doing. Especially because of all that. He set down his own beer and looked at me with such raw vulnerability that it hurt. I don't want to screw this up. You're the most important person in my life. If we try this and it doesn't work, if I lose you, you won't lose me. You can't know that. You're right, I can't, but Marcus, we've already been risking our friendship for years. I've been in love with you and pretending I wasn't. You've been in love with me and dating someone else. We've been lying to each other and ourselves. I took his hand, threading my fingers through his. Maybe honesty is actually less risky than what we've been doing. He squeezed my hand, his thumb tracing circles on my skin. When did you get so wise? I have my moments. We sat like that, hands intertwined, and I felt something settle in my chest. Something that had been restless and anxious for years was finally calm. Can I ask you something? Marcus said. Anything. What was it like figuring out you were gay, coming out, all of it? I'd never really talked to him about this. not in detail. It had always felt like something separate from our friendship, something I kept in a different box. It was scary, I admitted. I was 16 when I knew for sure. There was this guy in my English class and he smiled at me once and I felt like I'd been hit by lightning. I spent the next year trying to convince myself I was wrong, that it was just a phase or confusion or whatever. How did you finally accept it? I didn't really have a choice. Denial was eating me alive. I told my sister first. She was amazing about it. Then I told my parents and that was harder. They came around eventually, but there was a rough period. I paused, remembering. The first time I held another guy's hand in public, I was terrified. I kept waiting for someone to say something, to look at us funny, but mostly people just didn't care. And that's when I realized I'd built up this huge scary thing in my head, and reality was so much more mundane. Do you think I'm gay? He asked suddenly, or bi? I don't even know what to call myself. You don't have to call yourself anything, not right now, maybe not ever. Labels can be useful, but they're not requirements. I've only been attracted to women before. Well, except for you. Does that make me bi, or am I just sexual? He tried to laugh, but it came out nervous. I don't know, only you can figure that out, but there's no rush. You can take your time exploring what this means for you. I feel like I'm so far behind, like everyone else figured this out in high school and I'm just stumbling through it now. There's no timeline for this stuff. Everyone's journey is different. Some people know when they're 5, some people don't figure it out until they're 50. Both are valid. He leaned his head back against the couch, staring at the ceiling. I keep thinking about all the time we wasted. 8 years, man, 8 years we could have been together. Or maybe we needed those 8 years. Maybe we weren't ready before now. Always the optimist. One of us has to be. He rolled his head to the side, looking at me with those brown eyes I'd memorized years ago. Can I kiss you again? My heart jumped into my throat. Yeah. This kiss was different from the first, slower, exploratory. He cupped my face with both hands, his touch gentle, and I let my eyes fall closed. His lips moved against mine softly, questioning, and I answered by deepening the kiss. His hands slid into my hair and I moved closer until I was practically in his lap. One of his hands dropped to my waist, pulling me firmly against him, and I gasped against his mouth. Is this okay? He murmured against my lips. More than okay. We made out on my couch like teenagers, all urgent touches and breathless kisses. His hands were everywhere, my hair, my back, my hips, like he was trying to memorize me through touch. I kissed along his jaw, down his neck, and felt him shiver. God, he breathed, is it always like this? Like what? Like I'm on fire, like I can't get close enough. I pulled back to look at him. His lips were swollen, his hair completely destroyed, his eyes dark with want. When it's the right person, yeah, it's exactly like this. He kissed me again, and this time there was something desperate in it, like he was trying to make up for lost time. I responded in kind, letting myself drown in him, in the taste of him, the feel of him, the sounds he made when I bit gently at his lower lip. We might have stayed like that all night, but eventually we had to come up for air. We broke apart, both breathing hard, and Marcus rested his forehead against mine. I should probably go, he said, not moving. You should probably stay. If I stay. We don't have to do anything you're not ready for, we can just sleep, like we have 100 times before. It won't be like before, not anymore. No, I agreed, it won't. He pulled back slightly, studying my face. I want to stay, is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. I woke up to sunlight streaming through my bedroom window and Marcus's arm draped over my waist. For a moment I thought I was dreaming, that I'd finally tipped over the edge from pinning into full delusion. But then he stirred, pulling me closer, and I felt the solid warmth of him against my back. Real, this was real. I carefully turned over, trying not to wake him. In sleep he looked younger, peaceful. His hair was falling into his face and I gently brushed it back. His eyes opened at the touch, unfocused and sleepy. Hey, he murmured. Hey. We'd fallen asleep in our clothes on top of the covers. At some point in the night he'd pulled me against him and we'd fitted together like puzzle pieces. What time is it? He asked. I glanced at my phone on the nightstand. Almost 9. I should get going, I've got that thing at noon. Right, the thing, life hadn't stopped just because hours had changed completely. Okay, I said, trying to keep the disappointment out of my voice. He must have heard it anyway because he pulled me closer, or I could cancel. You don't have to do that. I want to. He kissed my forehead, my nose, my lips, each kiss soft and sweet. I want to spend the day with you. I want to spend every day with you. That might be difficult when we both have jobs. Details, he was smiling now, that easy smile I loved. Come on, let's make breakfast. We stumbled into the kitchen and Marcus immediately started pulling things out of my fridge. Eggs, cheese, vegetables. He moved around my kitchen like he owned it, which I guess he sort of did after 8 years of friendship. Since when do you cook? I asked, sitting at the counter. Jessica taught me. She said I needed to learn at least one useful skill. The mention of Jessica created a moment of awkwardness. She was suddenly the elephant in the room, the ghost of relationships past. How is she? I asked carefully. Really? Marcus cracked eggs into a bowl, his movements precise. Hurt, angry, sad, all of the above, but she's strong, she'll be okay. He paused. She said to tell you she doesn't blame you, that it's not your fault. I still feel guilty. I know, me too. He whisked the eggs vigorously. But she also said that she'd rather know now than waste more years on someone who couldn't love her the way she deserved, so there's that. She's a good person. Yeah, she is. We were quiet while he cooked, the only sound the sizzle of eggs hitting the hot pan. He plated the food with surprising skill, fluffy omelets with vegetables and cheese, and brought both plates to the counter. This is really good, I said after the first bite. Don't sound so surprised. I'm not surprised, I'm impressed, there's a difference. He grinned at me and something in my chest loosened. This was still us, still the easy banter and comfortable silence. The foundation of our friendship was still there, just with new layers added on top. So, Marcus said, pushing his eggs around his plate, what happens now? What do you mean? I mean, do we tell people, do we wait, are we dating, is that what this is? I set down my fork. What do you want it to be? I want you to be my boyfriend. He said it firmly, no hesitation. I want everyone to know, I want to be able to hold your hand and kiss you and not have to pretend anymore. Then that's what we'll do. Just like that. Just like that. He reached across the counter and took my hand. I know I'm going to screw things up. I don't know the rules. I don't know how to be someone's boyfriend when that someone is a guy. I'm going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or... Marcus, stop, I squeezed his hand. I don't need you to be perfect, I just need you to be you. What if people talk? What if my family freaks out? What if? Then we'll deal with it, together. He took a shaky breath. I'm scared. I know, me too. You don't seem scared. I'm terrified, but I'm more scared of not trying, of wondering what might have been. He came around the counter and pulled me into a hug. I wrapped my arms around him, breathing in the scent of his cologne mixed with my laundry detergent. Thank you, he whispered into my hair. For what? For being patient with me, for waiting, for not giving up on me even when I didn't know I needed you to. Always. We spent the rest of the day in my apartment, barely touching the outside world. We talked about everything and nothing. About his fears, my hopes, our shared history. We watched movies on the couch, his head in my lap while I played with his hair. We ordered takeout and ate it straight from the containers. It felt normal and extraordinary all at once. Around 7, my phone buzzed with a text from my friend Sarah. Party tonight, you coming? I showed Marcus the message. Do you want to go? He bit his lip, thinking, is it bad that I kind of want to stay in with you? Not bad at all, but maybe good practice, ripping off the band-aid. You mean telling people? Only if you're ready, no pressure. He was quiet for a long moment, then, let's do it, let's go. The party was at Sarah's apartment, one of those cramped city places that somehow fit 30 people despite being designed for 4. The music was too loud, the drinks were too strong, and everyone was already halfway to drunk by the time we arrived. Sarah met us at the door, her eyes lighting up when she saw me. You made it, and you brought Marcus. She hugged us both, then paused, looking between us. Wait, did you guys come together? I looked at Marcus, he looked at me. Here we go. Yeah, I said, together. Her eyes went wide, then wider, then she screamed. Shut up, she grabbed both of us and pulled us inside. Everyone, you need to hear this. Sarah, maybe don't, I started, but it was too late. The music cut off, 30 faces turned toward us. These two idiots are finally together, Sarah announced, gesturing at us like we were prizes on a game show. There was a beat of silence, then the room erupted in cheers and applause. Finally, someone shouted, "About damn time. I called it, Ryan, you owe me $20. Marcus looked shell-shocked, I couldn't help but laugh. Our friend Kevin pushed through the crowd, grinning, Dude, I've been waiting for this for years, we all have." What? Marcus said weakly. Come on, man, it was so obvious, you two have been doing the whole in love with your best friend thing since forever. We were starting to think you'd never figure it out. We had a betting pool, another friend admitted, about when you'd finally get together. Who won? I asked, curious despite myself. No one yet, the closest bet was Halloween. Sarah pulled us both into another hug. I'm so happy for you guys, seriously, this is the best news. The party reformed around us, people coming up to offer congratulations or share their own stories of friends to lovers. Marcus's hand found mine and he didn't let go. That went better than expected, he murmured in my ear. Did you think they'd react badly? I don't know, I didn't know what to expect. Most people who care about you just want you to be happy. He squeezed my hand. I'm happy, terrified but happy. We spent the next hour mingling, accepting congratulations and fielding questions. Some people wanted details, others just wanted to say they'd seen this coming. Marcus handled it all with surprising grace, though I could feel the tension in his shoulders. Around 10, we escaped to Sarah's tiny balcony for some air. The city stretched out below us, lights twinkling like earthbound stars. You okay? I asked. Yeah, that was nice, everyone being so supportive. Did you expect something different? I don't know what I expected. When you spend so long hiding something, you start to think of it as this terrible secret, but it's not terrible, it's actually the best thing that's ever happened to me. I leaned against the railing next to him, our shoulders touching. You know that some people might not be as supportive, right? Your family maybe, or... I know, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Right now, I just want to enjoy this. We stood there in comfortable silence, watching the city breathe below us. Can I tell you something embarrassing? Marcus said suddenly. Always. I used to have dreams about you before I admitted to myself what they meant. I'd wake up and feel so guilty, like I'd cheated on Jessica just by dreaming, and I'd try so hard to forget them, but they'd stay with me all day. The way you looked at me in the dreams, the way it felt when you touched me. My heart was racing. What changed? What made you finally accept it? I had another dream, but in this one I was old, like 70, and I was sitting on a porch somewhere and Jessica was there and we had this whole life together. Kids, grandkids, the whole thing, and I should have been happy, but I just felt empty because you weren't there. You'd moved on, married someone else, and I'd spent 50 years wondering what if. He turned to face me, his eyes intense. I woke up from that dream and I couldn't stop crying, and that's when I knew I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't spend the rest of my life wondering. I had to know, even if the answer destroyed me. Marcus. I'm not done. He took both my hands. That dream showed me something. That safety isn't the same as happiness. That following the script everyone expects isn't the same as living, and I'd rather have one real year with you than 50 comfortable years with anyone else. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, could only pull him close and kiss him while the city hummed below us and our friends celebrated inside. When we finally broke apart, he was smiling. So yeah, that's my embarrassing confession. Not embarrassing, beautiful. You're beautiful. Smooth talker. I'm trying out all my moves, how am I doing? Pretty good, could use some work on the delivery though. He laughed and kissed me again and I thought, this is it. This is what happiness feels like. We stayed at the party for another hour, but eventually the noise and the crowd became too much. We said our goodbyes, promising to have dinner with Sarah soon, and escaped into the cool night. Your place or mine? I asked as we walked down the street, hands clasped. Yours, mine still has too much Jessica stuff, I need to deal with that. We can do it together if you want, when you're ready. You do that. Of course, we're in this together now. He stopped walking and pulled me into a hug right there on the sidewalk. People passed by us, but neither of us cared. I love you, he whispered. I know I said it last night, but I need to say it again. I love you so much it scares me. I love you too, have loved you, will keep loving you. Even when I'm figuring things out, even when I'm a mess. Especially then. The next few weeks were a blur of new experiences and old fears. Marcus came out to his parents the following Saturday. They didn't take it well. He called me from his car afterward, his voice tight with unshed tears. My mom cried, my dad didn't say anything, just left the room, and my mom kept saying, "Are you sure? Are you really sure?" Like I'm confused or going through a phase. "I'm so sorry, do you want me to come over?" "No, maybe, I don't know, I'm just sitting in their driveway trying to figure out if I should go back in or drive away." "What did you tell them, exactly?" "That I'm dating you, that I'm in love with you, that I've been lying to myself for years and I can't do it anymore." And my mom asked if this was why I broke up with Jessica. I said yes. She asked if we'd been having an affair and I told her no, absolutely not, that I'd never cheated on Jessica, but I don't think she believed me. "Marcus, you did nothing wrong." "Then why do I feel like I just destroyed my family?" My heart ached for him, because coming out is hard, because we're taught to prioritize other people's comfort over our own truth, but you didn't destroy anything, you're just being honest. "My dad won't even look at me." "Give him time, some parents need time to process." "What if he never comes around, what if this is it?" I didn't have an answer for that. My own coming out had been rough, but my parents had eventually accepted it. Some parents never did. "Then you'll survive it," I said finally. "Because you're strong and you're not alone, you have me, you have our friends, you have people who love you exactly as you are. Can you come over, please? I don't want to be alone right now. I'm already getting my keys." I found him 20 minutes later, still sitting in his car in his parents' driveway. His eyes were red, his face blotchy from crying. I got in the passenger seat and pulled him into my arms. He broke down completely, sobbing into my shoulder. I held him and let him cry, stroking his hair and whispering that everything would be okay, even though I wasn't sure it would be. "I knew this might happen," he said when he could finally speak again, "but knowing and experiencing it are two different things." "I know. My mom asked if you turned me gay, like you'd corrupted me or something." "What did you say?" I told her that's not how it works, that I've always been this way, I just didn't understand it, but she wouldn't listen, she just kept crying and asking where she went wrong. "She didn't go wrong, you're not wrong, you're perfect exactly as you are." He pulled back to look at me, his eyes searching my face. "How did you get through this when your parents reacted badly?" I reminded myself that their reaction wasn't about me. It was about their expectations, their fears, their limited understanding. And I gave myself permission to grieve the relationship I'd thought we had while also holding space for the relationship we might have someday. That sounds very therapist. Why? I may have been in therapy for a while after I came out. Did it help? Yeah, it really did. He was quiet for a moment then. "Will you go with me to therapy?" "If you want me there, of course. I think I need it to figure out how to navigate all this, how to be okay when my parents aren't." We sat in his car for another hour, talking and not talking, until his phone buzzed with a text from his mom. "We need time, please don't come by for a while." The words hit him like a physical blow. I watched his face crumble, watched him try to hold it together and fail. "Let's go," I said gently. "You can stay with me as long as you need." That night we lay in my bed and he clung to me like I was the only solid thing in his world. Maybe I was. "Thank you," he whispered into the darkness. "For what?" "For being worth it, for making all of this worth it. You're worth it too, don't forget that." By December, we'd fallen into a rhythm. Marcus had moved most of his stuff into my apartment, though he kept his lease just in case. His parents still weren't talking to him. His mom would occasionally text short, careful messages that never mentioned me or our relationship. His dad stayed silent. It was killing him slowly. "My mom texted," he said one evening, showing me his phone. "Happy Thanksgiving, we miss you." "That's good, right? She's reaching out." She said that means my dad is at least aware she's texting, that's progress. "Did you respond?" "Not yet, I don't know what to say. Thanks, I miss you too, hope you're okay with me being gay eventually. Maybe just start with I miss you too. He typed out a response, deleted it, typed again, finally sent miss you too, hope you're both well. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then reappeared, then his phone rang. He stared at it like it was a bomb. It's her. Answer it. What if? Answer it. He did, his hand shaking. Hello. I couldn't hear what she said, but I watched his face transform. Relief, pain, hope, all flickering across his features. Yeah, I'm okay, he said. Yeah, he's here, we're watching a movie. A pause. Mom, his name is actually, yes, I know you need time, I'm just saying his name matters to me, so it should matter to you too. He was quiet for a long time, listening. Okay, he said finally. Okay, Christmas Eve, just dinner, I'll come alone. He glanced at me and I could see the apology in his eyes. Okay, love you too. He hung up and immediately said, I'm sorry. For what? She invited me to Christmas Eve dinner, just me. She said she's not ready to meet you yet. That's okay. It's not okay, you're my boyfriend, you should be included. Marcus, it's a step, she's trying, that's what matters. I should tell her I'm not coming unless you're invited. No, I took his hands. Don't give her an ultimatum, not now, she's reaching out, that's huge. Take the dinner, see your family, I'll be fine. You'll be alone on Christmas Eve. I'll go to Sarah's, she always has people over. I don't want to choose between you and them. You're not choosing, you're keeping the door open with your parents while also keeping us strong, that's different. He pulled me into a hug, his face buried in my neck. I don't deserve you. Shut up, yes you do. The weeks leading up to Christmas were tense. Marcus was anxious about the dinner, worried about saying the wrong thing or pushing too hard. I tried to be supportive while also dealing with my own feelings about being excluded. It wasn't rational, I knew his parents needed time, but it still stung. Talk to me, Marcus said one night, finding me staring out the window. I'm fine. You're not fine, you've been quiet all week, what's going on? I sighed, I'm being stupid. Tell me anyway. I wish I could go with you, I wish I could meet your parents and have them see how much I love you, I wish I didn't have to feel like a secret. You're not a secret, everyone else knows about us. But not the people who matter most to you. You matter most to me. You know what I mean. He came up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. I do, and I'm sorry this is hard, I'm sorry my parents are being difficult, I'm sorry I can't just magically make everyone okay with us. I know I'm sorry too, I shouldn't be making this about me. You're allowed to have feelings, that's part of being in a relationship. I turned in his arms to face him. When did you get so wise about relationships? I've been reading books, articles, that blog you like, I'm trying to be better at this. You're already pretty great at it. Yes. Yeah. He kissed me softly. I'm going to tell them about you at dinner, really tell them. I'm going to make them understand that you're not going anywhere, that I love you, and that if they want me in their lives, they need to accept that. Marcus. No, I mean it, I've been too passive, too worried about their feelings, but you're right, you deserve to be acknowledged, you deserve to be included. I don't want to be the reason you fight with your family. You're not, they are, by refusing to accept this part of me. Christmas Eve arrived too quickly. Marcus got dressed in his nicest clothes, the dark blue button-down I loved, the one that made his eyes look almost amber in the right light. He must have changed his shirt 3 times before settling on that one. How do I look? He asked. Perfect, you always look perfect. I'm so nervous I think I might throw up. You're going to do great, just be honest, be yourself. What if it goes badly, what if they tell me not to come back? Then you come home to me, and we'll figure it out together. He kissed me at the door long and deep, like he was trying to memorize the taste of me. I love you, he said. I love you too, now go and text me updates. The first text came 30 minutes later, just got here, Mom hugged me, Dad shook my hand, progress. Yeah, I replied, definitely progress. I went to Sarah's party but I couldn't focus. I kept checking my phone, waiting for updates that came sporadically. Dinner is awkward, everyone's being very polite. Then an hour later Mom asked about you, what you do, where you're from. That's good. Then nothing for 2 hours. I tried not to panic, but my mind was racing through worst-case scenarios. Finally, at 10:47 p.m., can I call you? I stepped out onto Sarah's balcony. Hey, how'd it go? I told them everything. His voice was thick. I told them how we met, how long I've loved you, what kind of person you are. I told them about the night you confessed, about how patient you've been with me. I told them that you make me happier than I've ever been. And my dad cried. I've never seen him cry before, not once in my entire life. Oh, Marcus. He said he was sorry, that he's been trying to process this and he knows he's handled it badly. He said he loves me and he doesn't want to lose me. I could hear the tears in his voice. My mom said she wants to meet you, not right now but soon. She said if you're important to me, then she wants to know you. Relief flooded through me. That's amazing. It's not perfect, they're still struggling. My mom admitted she's worried about what people will think. My dad said he doesn't understand it, but they're trying, they're actually trying. That's all you can ask for. I'm coming home to you, is that okay? I know you're at Sarah's. Come here, I'll leave now. No, stay with your friends, I'll meet you there, I want to see you. He showed up 20 minutes later and I met him at the door. He looked exhausted but lighter somehow, like he'd set down a weight he'd been carrying for months. Hey, I said. Hey. We hugged in the doorway and I felt him take a shuddering breath. You did it, I whispered. We did it, I couldn't have gotten through any of this without you. Sarah appeared behind me. Get in here, both of you, we're about to watch It's a Wonderful Life and I need people who will cry with me. We spent the rest of Christmas Eve on Sarah's couch, Marcus's hand in mine, surrounded by friends who loved us. It wasn't the holiday I'd imagined, but it was perfect in its own way. Later, back at my apartment, we lay in bed and Marcus said, my mom wants to have dinner with us next month, both of us. She said she wants to start fresh. I'd like that. I'm scared, what if she doesn't like you? Then she has terrible taste. He laughed, confidence, I like it. Marcus, I'm scared too, I want your parents to like me, I want them to see why you love me, but even if they don't, even if this takes years for them to fully accept, we'll be okay, because we have each other. We have each other, he repeated like he was testing the words. I like the sound of that. Me too. The dinner was scheduled for January 15th at a neutral location, an Italian restaurant downtown that Marcus's mom had chosen. I spent the week before convinced I was going to throw up or pass out or say something incredibly stupid. You're going to be fine, Marcus kept telling me. What if I'm not? What if I spill something or laugh too loud or? Then you'll be human, that's all they need to see. That you're real, that you make me happy, that you're not some evil seducer who corrupted their son. When you put it that way. Listen, he took my face in his hands. My parents are nervous too. My mom has texted me 17 times asking what you like to eat, what topics to avoid, whether she should mention Jessica or pretend that whole relationship never happened. They want this to go well as much as we do. 17 times. She's thorough. The night of the dinner, I changed clothes 4 times. Marcus finally laid out an outfit for me, dark jeans, a soft gray sweater, my good shoes. Perfect, he said, you look perfect. I look like I'm trying too hard. You look like yourself, that's all you need to be. His parents were already there when we arrived. His mom was a petite woman with Marcus's same warm brown eyes. His dad was tall, broad-shouldered with gray at his temples. They both stood when we approached the table. Mom, Dad, Marcus said, his hand finding mine. This is. It's so nice to meet you, his mom interrupted, stepping forward. She looked at our joined hands, then up at my face, and I watched her make a decision. She pulled me into a hug. I stood frozen for a second, then hugged her back. Thank you for being patient with us, she whispered in my ear, and thank you for making my son happy. When she pulled back, there were tears in her eyes. Marcus's dad extended his hand, his grip was firm, his eyes searching. I hear you play basketball. Yes, sir, that's how Marcus and I met actually, pickup game freshman year. Marcus said you're good. I'm decent, he's better. Marcus's dad almost smiled, that's not what he tells me. We sat down and the first few minutes were awkward. Everyone was too polite, too careful. But then Marcus's mom asked about my job and I told her about the marketing firm where I worked. She asked questions, real questions, not just polite conversation, and I found myself relaxing. Marcus's dad was quieter, but he listened intently. When Marcus told a story about a camping trip we'd taken last summer, his dad interrupted. "You went camping, Marcus hates camping." "Not anymore," Marcus said, smiling at me. "Someone convinced me it's not so bad when you bring actual supplies instead of just winging it." "I tried to take him camping when he was 12, his dad said. "He complained the entire time." "To be fair, you made me sleep in a tent with a hole in it during a rainstorm." Builds character. Builds pneumonia. And just like that, the tension broke. Marcus's dad was actually smiling and his mom was laughing, and we were just four people having dinner. Over dessert, Marcus's mom reached across the table and took my hand. "I need to apologize," she said, "for how I reacted, for the things I said, for making you feel unwelcome." "Mrs. Foster." "Carol, please." "Carol, I understand this wasn't what you expected for Marcus. I get that it's a lot to process." "It's not an excuse. You're important to my son. That means you're important to us." She glanced at her husband. "Right?" Marcus's dad nodded. "We just want Marcus to be happy, and I can see that he is with you." Marcus's eyes were bright with tears. I squeezed his hand under the table. "Thank you," I said. "That means more than you know." We stayed at the restaurant for 3 hours talking about everything from Marcus's childhood to our shared future. Carol showed me embarrassing baby photos on her phone. Richard told stories about teaching Marcus to drive. It felt almost normal. Almost. When we finally said goodbye in the parking lot, Carol hugged me again. "Come to Sunday dinner next week," she said. "Both of you, Marcus's sister will be there. She's been dying to meet you." "We'd love to," I said. In the car, Marcus was quiet. I drove, letting him process. "That went better than I expected," I finally said. "They liked you." "You sound surprised." "I'm not surprised. Of course they liked you. Everyone likes you." He paused. I didn't realize how much I needed this, how much I needed them to accept us." "They're trying, that's what matters." "My dad asked me to go fishing with him next month, just the two of us. He said he wants to talk, really talk." "That's good, right?" "Yeah, I think it is." He reached over and took my hand. "Thank you for tonight, for being perfect." "I wasn't perfect," I knocked over my water glass. "That made my mom laugh. Trust me, that was perfect." It happened on a random Tuesday in February. Marcus had been distant for a few days and I'd been trying to give him space. But when he canceled our dinner plans for the third night in a row, I'd had enough. "What's going on with you?" I asked when he finally came home at 10 p.m. "Nothing, work has just been crazy." "Work, right. What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you've been avoiding me for 3 days, and I want to know why." He threw his keys on the counter. "I'm not avoiding you, I've been busy." Busy at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. I had drinks with some coworkers. Is that not allowed? Of course it's allowed, but you could have told me, you could have invited me. Why? So you could analyze everything I said, monitor who I talked to. I stepped back like he'd slapped me. "What?" "Nothing, forget it." He tried to walk past me toward the bedroom. "No, we're not doing this. We're not going to have our first real fight and then just pretend it didn't happen." "I don't want to fight." "Then talk to me, tell me what's really going on." He spun around and there was something wild in his eyes. "You want to know what's going on? I ran into Jessica today at the coffee shop near my office, and we talked." My stomach dropped. "Okay. She looks good, happy, she's seeing someone new, and she told me she's glad we broke up because she deserves someone who can love her fully, someone who doesn't have to figure out their sexuality while in a relationship with her." Marcus. And she's right, I hurt her. I wasted 3 years of her life because I was too scared to face the truth. "You didn't waste anything, you loved her, maybe not the way she needed, but you loved her." Did I, or was I just going through the motions, playing the part of the straight guy with the perfect girlfriend? "Why are you doing this?" "Because I feel guilty," he was shouting now. "Because every time something good happens with us, I think about how I got here, about the casualties, Jessica, my parents' expectations, the life I was supposed to have." So what, you regret us, you regret being with me? No, God, no, that's not. He ran his hands through his hair, frustrated. I don't regret us, I regret hurting people to get here. You think I don't feel guilty too? Jessica was my friend. Your parents welcomed me into their home before they knew about us. You think I don't lie awake sometimes wondering if I'm selfish for being happy? You didn't do anything wrong. Neither did you, you figured yourself out, that's not a crime. It feels like one sometimes. We stared at each other across the kitchen, both breathing hard. Is this really about Jessica? I asked quietly, or is this about something else? He looked away. One of the guys at work today made a comment about how I'm with a guy now. He said it like a joke, but there was this edge to it, and everyone laughed, and I laughed too because I didn't know what else to do. What did he say?
It doesn't matter. It does to me. He asked if I was the man or the woman in the relationship. And then he made some joke about taking turns. Marcus's jaw clenched, and I just stood there. I didn't defend us. I didn't say anything. I just laughed like it was funny. I felt anger spike in my chest. That guy's an asshole. I know. But the thing is, I didn't know how to respond. I've been out for 4 months and I still don't know how to handle people like that. I don't know the right words or the right responses. And it makes me feel like I'm failing at this. There is no failing at this. There's just learning. You make it look so easy. You're so comfortable with who you are. You never seem bothered by what people think. That's not true. I've just had more practice at hiding it. I moved closer to him. Marcus, I spent years developing armor. Learning when to speak up and when to let things slide. Learning which battles to fight. You're figuring all that out and fast forward, and that's hard. But you're not failing. Then why does it feel like I am? Because being yourself is scary. Because the world isn't always kind to people like us. Because homophobia exists, and it's exhausting, and sometimes it makes you question everything. But that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means the world needs to do better. He pulled me into a hug, holding on tight. I'm sorry. For being distant. For taking it out on you. Sorry, too. For not noticing you were struggling. You're not a mind reader. No, but I'm your boyfriend. I should have known something was wrong. We stood there in the kitchen, holding each other, and I felt the fight drain out of both of us. We're going to have more of these, aren't we? Marcus said. More fights. Probably. That's what relationships are. Not just the good parts. I hate fighting with you. I hate it too. But we worked through it. That's what matters. He pulled back to look at me. I love you. Even when I'm being an idiot. Especially when I'm being an idiot. I love you too. We ordered pizza and ate it on the couch, talking about nothing and everything. About Marcus's coworker and how to handle similar situations in the future. About Jessica and the complicated grief of outgrowing relationships. About the ways the world could be cruel and the ways we could be kind to each other in spite of it. You know what I realized today? Marcus said, his head on my shoulder. What? That I'd rather be with you and deal with all the hard stuff than be with anyone else and have it be easy. You're worth every difficult conversation, every awkward family dinner, every ignorant comment. You're worth all of it. You're going to make me cry. Good. Someone should cry during the makeup part. There's a makeup part? I've been reading romance novels. There's always a makeup part. I laughed. What else have you learned from romance novels? That grand gestures are important. That communication is key. That wait, go back. Grand gestures. You'll see, Marcus. What did you do? Nothing yet. But I'm planning something. Should I be worried? No, you should be excited. The grand gesture came in the form of a surprise party. Marcus told me we were going to dinner at Sarah's place. Just a casual thing. So I wore jeans and a t-shirt and didn't think twice about it. When we got there, the apartment was dark. That's weird, Marcus said, though he didn't sound surprised. Maybe she's running late. He unlocked the door with a key Sarah had apparently given him, and the moment we stepped inside, the lights flipped on. Surprise. The apartment was packed. Our friends, Marcus's sister, his parents, even my parents, who I hadn't seen in months. There were balloons and streamers and a banner that read "Happy 6 months." "What is this?" I asked, spinning around to look at Marcus. He was grinning. "6 months ago, I told you I loved you in a gym parking lot, and you changed my life. So I wanted to celebrate that, celebrate us." I felt tears spring to my eyes. "You're such a sap. You love it. I really do." The party was perfect. There was food and music and laughter. My parents pulled me aside at one point, and my mom hugged me tight. "He's good for you," she said. "We can see how happy you are. He's the best thing that ever happened to me." Then hold on to him. Marcus's parents cornered me later, both looking slightly nervous. "We wanted to thank you," Carol said, "for being so patient with us, for giving us time to come around. You don't have to thank me." "We do," Richard said. "Not everyone would have been so understanding. And we know it wasn't easy. Marcus is worth it." "And so are you," Carol squeezed my hand. "You're family now. We want you to know that." I couldn't speak past the lump in my throat, so I just hugged them both. Later, when the party was winding down and most people had left, Marcus pulled me out onto Sarah's balcony. "I have something for you," he said, reaching into his pocket. "'Cause you didn't have to. I wanted to." He handed me a small box. Inside was a simple silver bracelet with coordinates engraved on the inside. "Where is this?" I asked. "The gym parking lot. Where we had our first kiss? Where everything changed." I slipped it on my wrist. "It's perfect. I have one too." He showed me his own bracelet, identical to mine. "So we always remember where we started. You're going to make me cry at your own party. That's the plan." He kissed me softly, and I tasted wine and happiness and 6 months of figuring out how to be together. "Thank you," I whispered against his lips. "For this, for everything. Thank you for loving me, even when I was too scared to love myself." We stayed on that balcony for a long time, holding each other under the stars, while our friends and family celebrated inside. And I thought about how far we'd come. From that night in the parking lot to this moment, from fear and secrets to openness and joy, it hadn't been easy. There had been tears and fights and moments when I wasn't sure we'd make it. But we had. We were making it. "What are you thinking about?" Marcus asked. "How lucky I am." How unlikely this all is. How easily we could have never happened, but we did happen. We did. We're going to keep happening. For a long time, promise. Promise. Month 8 brought unexpected challenges. Marcus got a promotion at work, which meant longer hours and more responsibility. I was happy for him, genuinely. But it also meant less time together, more canceled dates, more nights falling asleep alone. "I'm sorry," he kept saying. "It's just temporary. Once I get settled in the new role, I know. It's fine." But it wasn't fine, and we both knew it. The tension built slowly. Little things that normally wouldn't matter suddenly felt huge. He forgot to text me when he was working late. I snapped at him for leaving dishes in the sink. He criticized my driving. I made a passive-aggressive comment about his work schedule. By October, we were barely talking. "We need to address this," Sarah said one afternoon over coffee. "You two are miserable. We're fine. You're not fine. You haven't been fine for weeks. What's going on?" I stirred my coffee, watching the cream swirl. He's always working. And when he is home, he's exhausted. We haven't had a real conversation in days. We haven't. We haven't been intimate in over a month. Have you talked to him about it? Every time I try, he gets defensive. Says I'm being needy or demanding. That he's doing this for us, for our future. Nothing. I don't want to fight. So I just swallow it and pretend I'm okay. It's not sustainable, I know. Sarah reached across the table and took my hand. "You need to talk to him. Really talk. Before this becomes something you can't fix." She was right, of course. But that didn't make it easier. That night, I waited up for Marcus. He came home at 11, looking exhausted. "Hey," he said, surprised to see me still awake. "You didn't have to wait up. We need to talk." He froze. "Okay, sit down, please." He sat on the edge of the couch, keeping distance between us. That hurt more than I wanted to admit. I'm not happy, I said. And I don't think you are either. It's just stress from work. It's more than that. We're not connecting anymore. We're living parallel lives in the same apartment. And I don't know how to fix it. He was quiet for a long moment. I don't either. Do you still want this? Us. Of course I do. Why would you even ask that? Because you're never here. And when you are here, you're somewhere else mentally. I feel like I'm living with a ghost. I'm building a career. I'm trying to provide for us. I don't need you to provide for me. I need you to be present. I need you to make time for us. You think I don't want to? You think I enjoy working 70-hour weeks? I'm doing this so we can have a future. So we can buy a house someday. Maybe get married. Have the life we talked about. None of that matters if we're miserable now. So what do you want me to do? Quit my job? Tell my boss I can't handle the promotion. I want you to find balance. I want you to remember that we're supposed to be partners. That means making decisions together, not just assuming you know what's best for both of us. He stood up, pacing. This isn't fair. You knew the promotion was coming. You said you were supportive. I am supportive. But I'm also lonely and tired. And I feel like I'm fighting for scraps of your attention. That's not fair. Maybe not, but it's honest. We stared at each other across the living room, the space between us feeling insurmountable. I don't know what you want from me, Marcus said finally. I want my boyfriend back. The one who used to make time for me, who used to look at me like I mattered. You do matter. You're everything to me, and show me. Because right now, I feel like an afterthought. He looked stricken. Is that really how you feel? Yes. Yes. He sat back down, his head in his hands. When he looked up, there were tears in his eyes. I'm sorry. I've been so focused on work, on proving myself, that I lost sight of what actually matters. I've been taking you for granted. I'm sorry too, for not speaking up sooner, for letting resentment build. What do we do now? I don't know. Maybe we need help. Couples therapy? You think we need therapy? I think we need tools to communicate better, to handle stress without taking it out on each other. Don't you? He nodded slowly. Yeah, okay. Let's try it. Our therapist was a woman named Dr. Chen. She was in her 50s. With kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. Tell me why you're here, she said in our first session. We looked at each other. Marcus nodded at me to go first. We're struggling to balance Marcus's career with our relationship. We're not communicating well. Where? I trailed off. We're scared we're going to lose each other, Marcus finished. Dr. Chen made a note. That's a good start. Honesty is important. How long have you been together? 8 months officially, I said. But we've known each other for 8 years. Tell me about that. The friendship before the relationship. We spent the next 30 minutes walking her through our history. The basketball game where we met. The years of friendship. The confession in the parking lot. The rapid progression into a committed relationship. That's a lot of change in a short period, Dr. Chen observed. You went from friends to partners very quickly. Did you take time to establish new boundaries? New patterns. Marcus and I looked at each other blankly. I'll take that as a no, Dr. Chen said, but she was smiling slightly. That's common with friends' Tulliver situations. You have years of established patterns, and suddenly the relationship shifts, but those old patterns remain. That can create confusion about roles and expectations. So what do? I asked. We start by identifying what's working and what's not. Marcus, let's start with you. What do you need from this relationship that you're not currently getting? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I need to not feel guilty all the time. About working. About not being enough. Who's telling you you're not enough? Me. Mostly me. But also, he glanced at me, I feel like I'm constantly disappointing him. Is that true? Dr. Chen asked me. I don't think he's disappointing me. I think we're not on the same page about priorities. Explain that. He thinks providing financially is the most important thing. I think being present emotionally is the most important thing. Neither of us is wrong, but we're not communicating about it effectively. Dr. Chun nodded. That's very insightful. Marcus, how does that land for you? I guess I never asked him what he actually needed. I just assumed. And why did you assume that? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because that's what I saw growing up. My dad worked constantly. That's how he showed love, by providing. My mom handled everything emotional. I thought that was just how relationships worked. But you're not in a heterosexual relationship, Dr. Chen pointed out gently. You don't have to follow those traditional role models. You get to create your own pattern. Both of you do. It was like a light bulb went off. We spent the next few sessions working on communication strategies, setting boundaries around work time and couple time, and identifying our individual needs. It was hard work. There were tears and uncomfortable revelations. But slowly, things started to shift. Marcus cut back his hours to something more manageable. I worked on expressing my needs before resentment built up. We instituted a weekly date night. No phones, no work talk. This is helping, Marcus said after our 5th session. I feel like I can breathe again. Me too. Doc Chun smiled at us. You're both doing good work. But I want to touch on something else. Marcus, you mentioned feeling guilty earlier. Is that guilt just about work? Or is there more to it? Marcus tensed. What do you mean? I mean, coming out later in life, especially after being in a long-term heterosexual relationship, often comes with complicated feelings. Guilt about the past, anxiety about the future, imposter syndrome. I don't have imposter syndrome, don't you? She leveled him with a look. You've mentioned several times feeling like you're bad at being gay, like you're not doing it right. That sounds like imposter syndrome to me. Marcus looked at me, then back at Dr. Chen. I see him, and he's so comfortable with himself. He knows who he is, and I'm still figuring it out. I'm still having moments where I question everything. That's normal, Dr. Chen said. Sexual identity isn't always a straight line. It can be fluid, complicated. The fact that you're questioning doesn't make you any less valid. But what if I wake up one day and decide I was wrong? What if this was just a phase or confusion, or what if it wasn't? I interrupted. What if this is exactly who you're supposed to be, and the questioning is just fear trying to convince you otherwise? Marcus looked at me with such vulnerability it hurt. How do you know? Because I've watched you become more yourself over the past 8 months. I've seen you relax into this. The questioning isn't because you're wrong about who you are. It's because the world has told you your whole life that this isn't an option. You're fighting against decades of conditioning. He's right, Dr. Chen said. And here's something important. Even if your identity shifts again in the future, that doesn't invalidate where you are now. You're allowed to be exactly who you are in this moment.
Ow.
But what about him? Marcus gestured to me. What if I change and he gets hurt? I'm a grown adult, I said. I can handle uncertainty. What I can't handle is you not being honest with me about your fears. I'm scared all the time, Marcus admitted. Scared I'm not enough. Scared I'm going to screw this up. Scared that everyone was right and I was just confused. And yet you're still here. Still choosing this. Still choosing me. That takes courage. Dr. Chen let us sit with that for a moment, then said, I want you both to work on something this week. Marcus, I want you to journal about what being in this relationship gives you. Not what you think you should feel, but what you actually feel. And I want you, she nodded at me, to write about your fears. The ones you're not saying out loud. Marcus's journal entry, which he shared with me a week later, being with him feels like coming home. That's the best way I can describe it. After years of feeling like I was wearing a costume, playing a part, I finally get to be myself. And the terrifying part is that myself includes being in love with a man. I used to think about my future and see a wife. Kids, a house in the suburbs, the whole package. And I'd feel nothing. Like I was looking at a picture of someone else's life. Now, I think about the future and I see him. I see us traveling, laughing, growing old together. I see building something real, something that's actually ours. And I feel everything. I'm scared because this is real in a way nothing else has been. With Jessica, I loved her. but there was always this disconnect, this feeling that I was observing my own life from the outside. With him, I'm fully in it, fully present, and that's both the best and most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. I don't know if I'm gay or bi or something else entirely. What I do know is that I'm in love with my best friend, and that love is the most true thing I've ever felt. Maybe that's enough. Maybe I don't need a label. Maybe I just need to keep showing up, keep choosing him, keep building this life we're creating together. The guilt is still there. Guilt about Jessica, about my parents' initial reaction, about all the time we lost. But it's getting smaller, being replaced by something bigger: gratitude, joy, hope. I'm not who I thought I'd be at 27. I'm someone better. My journal entry, which I shared with him, my biggest fear isn't that he'll change his mind about his sexuality. It's that he'll change his mind about me. I've been in love with him for so long that I've built up this idealized version of what being together would be like. And reality is messier. He's messier. We're messier. And some days, I wonder if he looks at me and thinks, is this it? Is this what I gave up everything for? I'm scared that I'm not enough to justify the upheaval his life has undergone. That one day he'll wake up and realize he could have had an easier life, a more conventional life, if he'd just stayed in the closet. I'm scared of being someone's experiment, of being the first guy he's with, and maybe the last. Because after me, he'll realize men aren't what he wants after all. But here's the thing. Even with all that fear, I wouldn't change this. I wouldn't go back to being just friends, to hiding how I feel, to watching him be with someone else. This messy, complicated, sometimes painful reality is better than any fantasy I constructed over the years. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But we're perfect for each other. Most days, I believe that. The other days, I have to remind myself that love isn't about certainty. It's about choosing to stay, even when you're uncertain. It's about building something together, brick by brick, even when you can't see the finished structure. I'm terrified of losing him. But I'm more terrified of never having tried. We read each other's entries on the couch, in silence, tears streaming down both our faces. I had no idea you felt that way, Marcus said, his voice rough, that you worried about being enough. I had no idea you felt so guilty. We're both idiots. Agreed. Took my hand. You are enough. You're more than enough. You're everything. You're not an experiment. You're my person. Even if I'm the only guy you ever date, that doesn't diminish what we have. What if you're not? I looked up, startled. What? What if you're not the only guy I date? Not because I want to date other people, but just hypothetically, if this didn't work out and I dated other men, would that change how you see this? Us. I thought about it. No, because this is real, regardless of what happens after. And if we don't work out, God forbid, hope you'd find someone who makes you happy. Even if that thought makes me want to die a little. Laughed wetly. Same. The thought of you with someone else makes me insane. But I'd want you to be happy, so we're both jealous. Possessive idiots who also want the best for each other. Sounds about right. Dr. Chen was pleased with our progress the next session. You're both doing the work, she said. Not just going through the motions, but really examining your fears and insecurities. That's how relationships survive the rough patches. Are we through the rough patch? I asked. What do you think? Marcus and I looked at each other. I think we're getting there, he said. It's not perfect, but it's better. Better is good, Dr. Chen said. Perfect is overrated anyway. Strong relationships aren't the ones without problems. They're the ones where both people are committed to working through the problems together. We continued therapy for another 2 months, gradually moving from weekly to bi-weekly sessions. By December, we were in a much better place. The anniversary of the parking lot confession arrived with unexpected. Marcus woke me up at 6 in the morning, which should have been illegal. Get up, he said, already dressed. We're going somewhere. It's 6 a.m. on a Saturday. Nothing is open. Don't care. Get up. Grumbling, I got dressed in whatever clothes he threw at me. He drove us through the snowy streets to a destination he refused to reveal. When we pulled into the gym parking lot, I started laughing. You're kidding? I'm not kidding. Come on. We got out of the car and walked to the exact spot where we'd had our first kiss. The streetlight above us was still flickering. 1 year ago, Marcus said, I stood right here and told you I loved you, and you kissed me, and my entire life changed. Technically, it changed before that. In the shower. Don't ruin my romantic moment with technicalities. I grinned. Sorry, continue. He pulled something out of his coat pocket. A small box. My heart stopped. Marcus, before you panic, it's not what you think. I mean, it might be someday, but not yet. We agreed we'd wait at least 2 years before making any huge decisions. Then what? He opened the box. Inside were 2 keys. I want you to move in with me, officially. Not just most of your stuff is at my place anyway, but actually really move in. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to build a life with you. A real, permanent, the sister home kind of life. I couldn't speak, could only nod. Is that a yes? That's a yes, I managed. He slipped 1 key onto my bracelet next to the charm with the coordinates. Then he put the other one on his own bracelet. There, now we both have keys to home. To us? I kissed him in the snowy parking lot, under the flickering streetlight, in the exact spot where everything had begun. And it felt like coming full circle. I love you, I said against his lips. I love you too. Even though you're terrible at waking up early, 6 a.m., no one should be awake right now. I have more surprises. Come on. He drove us to a diner that was just opening. We were the only customers, and the waitress looked amused by how underdressed we were for the weather. 2 coffees, Marcus said. And whatever breakfast special you've got. You're up early, she observed. Anniversary. Ah, how long? 1 year. That's sweet. First year is always the hardest. She wasn't wrong. Over pancakes and terrible diner coffee, Marcus pulled out his phone. I made something for you. Well, with Sarah's help. I'm not great at technology. He pressed play on a video. It was a compilation of the past year. Photos and video clips I didn't even know he'd taken. Me laughing at something off camera. Both of us at his parents' house. His mom hugging me. The night of the 6-month party. Random moments from our daily life. But the best part was the audio. Marcus had asked our friends and family to record. Messages, Sarah. You. 2 are disgustingly cute, and I hate how much I love you. Together, his mom. Thank you for making my son happier than I've ever seen him. His dad, you're good for him. Don't let him push you away when things get hard. He has a tendency to do that, my mom. We always hoped you'd find someone who saw how special you are. We're so glad you found each other, Kevin. About time you idiots figured it out. Some of us have been waiting years for this. By the end, I was crying into my pancakes. You're such a sap, I said. Laughing through tears, you love it, I really do. We spent the rest of the day doing nothing and everything. Walked through the snowy park. Went to the bookstore, where we'd spent countless hours as friends. Had dinner at the Italian place where we'd had our first real date. This year was hard, Marcus said over dessert. There were moments I thought we wouldn't make it, but we did. We did, and I think that says something. About us. About what we're building. What do you think we're building? He thought for a moment. Something permanent. Something real. Something worth fighting for. I like the sound of that. Me too. Later that night. Back at what was now officially our apartment, we lay in bed and talked about the future. Where do you see us in 5 years? I asked. Here, or maybe a bigger place. Maybe a house with a yard. I see us hosting Thanksgiving, Sunday dinners with my parents, game nights with friends, maybe a dog? A dog? I've always wanted a dog. I see all of that. Plus traveling. I want to take you to all the places I've been, show you the world. I want that too. Do you think about marriage? I asked the question I'd been holding on to for months. All the time, he admitted. Is that crazy? We've only been together a year. It's not crazy. I think about it too. What do you think about? When you think about it, I think about standing in front of our friends and family and promising to love you forever. I think about calling you my husband. I think about building a whole life together, legally and emotionally bound. That sounds perfect. But I also think we should wait, like we agreed. 2 years minimum. Make sure we can weather more storms. Agreed. But for the record, I already know. Even if we wait 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, the answer will be the same. It's you. It's always been you, even when I'm being difficult. Especially then, year 2 brought new challenges. Marcus's mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in March. The family rallied around her. And suddenly our life was doctor's appointments and chemotherapy sessions and trying to stay positive when everything felt scary. I went to every appointment with Marcus, held his hand in waiting rooms, drove him home when he was too exhausted to function. His mom started calling me her son-in-law, even though we weren't married. His dad would clap me on the shoulder and say, "Glad you're here." "I don't know how to do this," Marcus admitted one night after a particularly bad chemo session. "I don't know how to watch her go through this." You don't have to know how. You just have to show up. What if he couldn't finish the sentence? Don't go there. Not yet. She's strong. She's fighting. We're all fighting with her. His mom ended up making a full recovery, but those months aged all of us. They also brought Marcus and me closer in ways I hadn't expected. There's something about going through a crisis together that either breaks you or binds you. We chose to be bound. In June, I got a job offer in another city. Better pay, better position, better opportunities. "You should take it," Marcus said when I told him. "It's 8 hours away." No, so how would that work? I could look for jobs there. Or we could do long distance for a while. Whatever makes sense. You'd move for me? Of course, your career matters too. We're partners. We figure it out together. I turned down the job. Not because Marcus asked me to, but because I realized I didn't want it badly enough to uproot our life. We'd built something here. Friends, family, a home. That mattered more than career advancement. "You're sure?" Marcus asked when I told him. "I'm sure. This is where I want to be. With you, I would have moved, you know. If you'd wanted to take it. That's why I love you." We had our first real vacation that summer. 2 weeks in Europe, backpacking through countries neither of us had visited. We got lost in Barcelona, sunburned in Greece, drunk in Ireland. We fought about directions and laughed about nothing and fell even more in love. "This is what I want," Marcus said one night in Paris, as we walked along the Seine. "This adventure's with you, building memories. Seeing the world together, we can do that. We have time, do we? Life feels so short lately. My mom's cancer, work stress, all of it. What if we're wasting time waiting? Waiting for what? To get married? To really commit? We both know we want to. Why are we waiting?" My heart raced, because we agreed. 2 years minimum. That's in 4 months. And honestly, I'm ready now. I've been ready. I just didn't want to push. We stopped walking. The Eiffel Tower sparkled in the distance. Tourists milled around us, and Marcus was looking at me like I was the only person in the world. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying that when we get home, I want to start planning a wedding. I want to marry you officially, legally, in front of everyone we love." "Marcus, you can say no. You can say wait. But I need you to know that I'm sure. I've never been more sure of anything." I kissed him right there on the bridge, while tourists took photos of the Eiffel Tower and accidentally captured us in the background. "Yes," I said when we broke apart. "Let's do it. Let's get married." Yeah. We spent the rest of the trip talking about wedding plans. Small ceremony or big? Church or outdoor? His parents would want traditional. My parents would be fine with anything. We'd need to compromise, find something that felt like us. "What about the gym?" I suggested. Marcus laughed. "We are not getting married in a gym parking lot. Why not?" That's where we started, because my mother would have a heart attack. And because, while it's romantic to us, explaining to our guests why we're standing in a parking lot might be awkward. Fine, but I want to incorporate it somehow. Deal. Marcus beat me to it. I'd been planning to propose at the 2-year mark. Had already bought a ring and everything. But 3 weeks before our anniversary, he surprised me. We were at game night at Kevin's house. Nothing special, just our usual Thursday tradition we'd maintained since college. We were playing some ridiculous party game, laughing and trash-talking each other. Then Marcus stood up. Can I have everyone's attention for a second? The room went quiet. Sarah's eyes went wide. Kevin started grinning. What are you doing? I whispered, something I should have done months ago. He got down on one knee, right there in Kevin's living room in front of all our friends. We've known each other for almost 9 years. Been in love for most of them even when we didn't admit it. And I've spent the last 1.5 years building a life with you that's better than anything I could have imagined. He pulled out a ring box. Simple, elegant. No. I don't want to wait anymore. I don't want to waste another day not being your husband. So, he opened the box, revealing a silver band. Will you marry me? I couldn't speak. Could only nod frantically while tears streamed down my face. Is that a yes? He asked, laughing. Yes? Yes, of course, yes. Our friends erupted in cheers. Marcus slipped the ring on my finger and I pulled him up into a kiss. I was going to propose to you, I said against his lips. In 3 weeks, on our anniversary, great minds think alike. You stole my thunder. You can still propose. I'll say yes. So 2 days later, I proposed back. Took him to the gym parking lot, to our spot under the flickering streetlight, and got down on one knee. You started something here 2 years ago, I said. You changed both of our lives. And I want to spend the rest of my life continuing what we started. Will you marry me? I'm already engaged to you, he pointed out, grinning. Oh, marry me twice. Okay. We were those annoying engaged people who couldn't stop talking about the wedding. Sarah threatened to uninvite herself if we brought up centerpieces one more time. I can't help it, Marcus said. I'm excited. You're a dork, Sarah said affectionately. But I'm happy for you. Both of you. We decided on a fall wedding. October, when the leaves were changing. Outdoor ceremony at a botanical garden. Reception in a restored barn. Smallish, about 75 people. Family and close friends. Planning a gay wedding came with its own unique challenges. Did we both walk down the aisle? Did we need a best man, or were we both the grooms? Who proposes the toast? There's no rule book for this, Marcus said one night, surrounded by wedding magazines, so we make our own rules. I like that. We decided we'd walk down the aisle together. Kevin would officiate. Both our sets of parents would do readings. Sarah would give a toast, because she'd been there from the beginning and had earned it. I want to include the parking lot, Marcus said, in the vows. That moment, that's when I stopped running from myself. That's when real life began. We could do photos there. Before the ceremony. Perfect. October 12th arrived, with perfect weather. Crisp and clear, the kind of fall day that belonged in a magazine spread. I woke up at Sarah's apartment, where I'd spent the night to honor the tradition of not seeing the groom before the wedding. Marcus was at our place with Kevin. Ready? Sarah asked, helping me with my tie. Terrified. Good terrified or bad terrified? Good. Definitely good. She hugged me tight. I'm so happy for you. You deserve this. You both do. My parents arrived to take photos, and my mom cried the moment she saw me in my suit. You look so handsome, she said, fussing with my lapel. I can't believe my baby's getting married. I'm 28, Mom. You'll always be my baby. My dad pulled me aside. I know I wasn't great when you first came out. I had a lot to learn, but I want you to know how proud I am of you, of the man you've become, of the relationship you've built with Marcus. Thanks, Dad. That means a lot. He's good for you, and you're good for him. That's what matters. The ceremony was scheduled for 4 p.m. We decided to do first look photos at the gym, parking lot at noon. Marcus was already there when we arrived. Standing in our spot, looking nervous and perfect in his charcoal suit. You can look now. Kevin called out. Marcus turned around, and his face transformed. Wow yourself. We stood there grinning at each other like idiots while the photographer captured it all. I can't believe we're doing this, Marcus said. Getting married or taking wedding photos in a gym parking lot? Both having regrets? Not even a little bit. The ceremony itself was a blur. I remember walking through the botanical garden, the leaves crunching under our feet. I remember our friends and family standing as we approached the altar. I remember Kevin's voice, steady and sure, as he talked about love and commitment and the journey we'd been on, but mostly, I remember Marcus's face, the way he looked at me as we said our vows, the tears in his eyes when I promised to love him in sickness and health, for better or worse, for all the days of my life. I promise to choose you, Marcus said, his voice shaking. Every day, in every way. When it's easy and when it's hard. When we're laughing and when we're crying. I promise to be your partner, your best friend, your home. I promise to never take for granted the gift of loving you and being loved by you. I barely held it together through my own vows. You told me once that I was worth it. Worth the upheaval, the difficulty, the fear. But Marcus, you're the one who's worth it. Worth the years of waiting, worth the risk of confession, worth every challenge we've faced. You're worth everything. And I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that to you. Kevin pronounced us married, and the kiss that followed felt like everything celebration. Promise, arrival, beginning. The reception was perfect chaos. Dinner and dancing and toasts that made everyone cry. Marcus's mom grabbed the microphone at one point and told a story about the first time she met me, how she'd known immediately that I was special. Even if it took her longer to understand why. I'm so grateful my son found you, she said, looking directly at me. You brought him home to himself. That's the greatest gift you could have given our family. Sarah's toast was equal parts funny and touching. She talked about watching us dance around each other for years, about the relief when we finally got together, about how annoying it was that we were so perfect for each other. To love stories that take their time, she said, raising her glass. Two best friends who become more. To Marcuson, she used my name, who proved that sometimes the best things are worth waiting for. We danced until midnight. Slow songs and fast songs and everything in between. I danced with my mom. Marcus danced with his. We cut the cake and tossed the bouquet and did all the traditional things, while also making it entirely our own. At the end of the night, we said goodbye to our guests and climbed into the car Kevin had decorated with just married signs. Where are we going? I asked since Marcus was driving. You'll see. Pulled into the gym parking lot. Seriously? One more photo to bookend everything. We stood under that flickering streetlight in our suits, holding each other, and the photographer captured one final image. The perfect end to the perfect day. I love you. Husband, Marcus said. Husband. We kissed under the flickering light. In the spot where everything had changed, and I thought about how far we'd come, from that terrified confession to this moment of pure joy. From hiding to celebrating, from fear to love, ready to start forever? Marcus asked. With you? Always. Life after the wedding settled into a beautiful routine. We bought a house 6 months later. Nothing fancy, just a small 2-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood. But it was ours. We painted the walls together, assembled furniture while arguing over directions, planted a garden that mostly died because neither of us knew what we were doing. We're terrible at being adults, Marcus said, staring at our brown, wilted tomato plants. We're excellent at being adults. We just suck at gardening. Same thing, not even close. We adopted a dog, a rescue mutt named Charlie, who was all enthusiasm and no brains. He chewed our shoes, knocked over our plants, and became the center of our universe. I can't believe we're those people, I said one night, watching Marcus baby talk to the dog. What people? The ones who treat their dog like a child. Charlie is our child. Charlie is a dog. Same thing. We hosted Thanksgiving that year. Both our families, Sarah, Kevin, and a handful of close friends crammed into our small house. The turkey was dry, the pie burned, but no one cared. It was chaotic and loud and perfect. This is what I always wanted, Marcus's mom said, helping me in the kitchen. A house full of love and laughter. Thank you for giving that to us. I think Marcus and I gave it to each other. Her, you did. But you also gave it to us? Our family is better because of you. Marcus turned 31st. We threw a surprise party that he totally saw coming because I'm terrible at keeping secrets. I knew something was up, he said, laughing as our friends jumped out. You've been weird all week. I wasn't weird. You absolutely were. But I love you for trying. When I turned 36 months later, Marcus went all out. Rented a venue, invited everyone we knew, made a slideshow of embarrassing photos from my youth that my sister had helpfully provided. Payback. He whispered in my ear during the party, I hate you. No, you don't. No, I don't. We traveled when we could. Weekend trips and week-long adventures. Built up a collection of memories and inside jokes and photos from around the world. We fought sometimes. About money, about housework, about whose turn it was to walk Charlie. But we always made up. Always chose each other. Always remembered what we'd built and why it mattered. 3 years into our marriage, Marcus came home with news. They're offering me a position at the Seattle office. Big promotion. Significant pay increase. My heart sank. That's across the country. I know. What did you tell them? That I needed to talk to my husband first. He sat down next to me on the couch. So I'm asking, what do you think? I looked at our living room. The photos on the wall from our wedding, Charlie sleeping in his bed by the window. The life we'd built here. I think we should do it. Marcus blinked. Really? Really? We've been here for 3 years. We've built something amazing. But maybe it's time for a new adventure. Together. You'd be willing to leave. Your job, your friends, your family. For you, for us. In a heartbeat, I took his hand. Besides, Seattle has a great food scene. And I've always wanted to live near mountains. You hate hiking. I'll learn to love it. He kissed me hard. You're amazing. You know that? I do. But feel free to keep reminding me. The move to Seattle was chaos. Packing up our entire life, saying tearful goodbyes to family and friends. Loading Charlie into the car for a cross-country road trip that he hated every minute of. Only 3 more hours. Marcus said, trying to soothe the whining dog in the back seat. He's been saying that for the last 6 hours. I pointed out, I'm an optimist. You're a liar. We found an apartment in Capitol Hill. A vibrant neighborhood with rainbow flags on every corner. Our first night there, we walked through the streets hand in hand. Taking in the openly queer spaces, the visible diversity, the sense of community. I didn't realize how much I needed this, Marcus said. To be somewhere we're not the exception, me either. We made new friends. Joined a recreational basketball league where everyone was LGBTQ+. Found our favorite coffee shop, our regular restaurant, our new routines. Marcus thrived at his new job. I found a position at a tech startup that was challenging and exciting in ways my old job never was. We hiked on weekends. I didn't love it, but I loved being with Marcus, so I tolerated it. You're doing great, he'd say as I huffed and puffed up another trail. I'm dying, dramatically dying. There's a difference. For years into our marriage, we had the conversation we'd been dancing around for months. What do you think about kids? Marcus asked one night, out of nowhere. I looked up from my book. Kids? Yeah, having them. Raising them. The whole thing. I don't know. Do you want kids? I think I do. Not right now, but someday. I want to coach Little League and help with homework and do all the dad things my father did with me. My heart swelled. You'd be an amazing dad. You would too. I don't know. I've never really thought about it seriously. Think about it now. With me, I closed my book. Okay, what would it look like? Adoption? Surrogacy? Either both? I'm open. He moved closer. I just know that when I think about our future, I see more than just us. I see a family. That's terrifying, I know. But also kind of wonderful. Yeah. We started the research process. Looked into adoption agencies, surrogacy options, fostering programs. It was overwhelming and expensive and complicated. This is going to take years. I said after one particularly frustrating meeting with an adoption agency. Then we have years. We're not in a hurry. But life had other plans. 6 months later, Marcus's sister called. She was pregnant, unexpectedly, and the father was out of the picture. She was 19, still in college, and terrified. "I can't do this alone," she said. "I can't raise a baby right now, but I don't want to give them up to strangers." Marcus looked at me across the room, his eyes wide with possibility and fear. "What are you asking?" he said carefully. "I'm asking if you and your husband would consider. I mean, you've been talking about kids, and I know you'd be amazing parents. And the baby would still be in the family. I could still see them. But they'd have a stable home and 2 parents who are ready, and yes, I said before I could overthink it. Yes, we'll do it." Marcus grabbed my hand. "Are you sure?" "Are you?" "I think so. I think this might be exactly what we're supposed to do." His sister cried. We cried. It was decided. Emma Rose was born on a rainy Tuesday in November. We were both in the delivery room. Marcus holding his sister's hand while I stood back, trying to be supportive without getting in the way. When Emma finally arrived, screaming and pink and perfect, the nurse asked who wanted to cut the cord. "Go," I told Marcus. His hand shook as he cut. And then suddenly there was a baby being placed in his arms. Our baby, our daughter. "Hi, Emma," he whispered. "I'm your dad, and that's your other dad, and we're going to love you so much." I couldn't see through my tears. The first few months were brutal. Sleepless nights and endless diaper changes, and figuring out how to be parents when we barely knew what we were doing. "I think she hates me," I said at 3 a.m. after an hour of trying to get Emma to stop crying. "Hey, she doesn't hate you. She's just a baby who clearly prefers you." It's not true. Marcus took Emma from me. She immediately quieted. "Okay, that's unfortunate timing, see? She'll learn to love you just as much. Give it time." It was hard. Marcus seemed to have natural dad instincts, while I fumbled through everything. I couldn't get her to eat properly, couldn't soothe her when she cried. Couldn't figure out what any of her different cries meant. I'm failing at this. I told Sarah on a video call, "You're not failing. You're learning. There's a difference. Marcus is so much better at it." Marcus's sister was a baby when he was a teenager. He has more experience. But that doesn't mean you won't be just as good. You just need to find your own rhythm. She was right. Slowly, I figured out what worked for me and Emma. I might not be great at soothing her to sleep, but I was excellent at making her laugh. Marcus handled bedtime. I handled morning playtime. We divided and conquered, playing to our strengths. By Emma's first birthday, we'd hit our stride as parents. We were tired and overwhelmed and so deeply in love with our daughter that it hurt. "I can't believe we made a whole human," Marcus said, watching Emma smash cake into her face. "We didn't make her. Your sister did. You know what I mean? We're raising a human. A person who will grow up and have thoughts and feelings and a whole life. That's insane. Terrifying. The best kind of terrifying." Emma's first word was Dada, and both Marcus and I claimed she was talking to us. Her first steps were toward Charlie, who'd become her best friend and most patient guardian. Her first full sentence was "More cookie, please," which felt very on brand. "She's going to be trouble," Marcus's mom said, watching Emma climb onto the counter to reach the cookie jar. "She's 2. "They're all trouble at 2, I said, rescuing Emma before she fell. "No, I mean she's got your husband's determination and your problem-solving skills. That's a dangerous combination." She wasn't wrong. 7 years after that night in the parking lot, I found myself back at the gym. Thursday night basketball had never stopped. Even through moves and marriages and new babies. It was still our thing, mine and Marcus's. Sarah babysat Emma every Thursday so we could have this time. We were playing a pickup game when a young guy approached us after. Couldn't have been more than 22 nervous energy radiating off him. "Hey, sorry to bother you guys, but I noticed." He gestured vaguely at our wedding rings. "Are you together?" "Married," Marcus said, smiling. 7 years together, almost 5 married. The kid's face lit up. "Really? That's... wow." I'm sorry, I don't mean to be weird. It's just, I'm kind of figuring some stuff out about myself. And seeing you guys normal guys just playing basketball and being happy, it helps. You know, I remembered being that kid, scared and uncertain and desperate for proof that it could be okay. I'm Jake, the kid continued. I'm a sophomore at the university. I came out to my roommate last week and it didn't go great. I've been kind of spiraling since then. Marcus and I exchanged a look. Want to grab coffee? Marcus offered. We've got time. We spent the next 2 hours at a diner telling Jake our story, the years of friendship, the confession, the struggles and triumphs. Jake listened with rapt attention, asking questions, nodding along. So it gets better? He asked finally. Everyone says that, but does it really? It gets different, I said. Some things get easier. Some things stay hard. But you learn to navigate it. You find your people. You build a life that's authentically yours. And you don't regret it? Coming out? Dealing with everything? Marcus reached across the table and took my hand. Not for a second. This, he gestured between us. This is the best decision I ever made. Choosing honesty, choosing him. Choosing myself. Jake's eyes were wet. Thank you. For talking to me. For showing me it's possible. Any time, I said, handing him my phone number. Seriously, if you need to talk or if things get rough, call us. The queer community takes care of its own. After Jake left, Marcus and I sat in the parking lot of the diner. We were him once, Marcus said. We were. It's wild how far we've come. You ever think about that night? In the shower? In the parking lot? How different our lives would be if you hadn't said something. All the time. I think about how close I came to never telling you. To spending my whole life wondering what if. I'm glad you told me. Me too. We drove home to our daughter, who was still awake despite Sarah's best efforts. Daddies. Emma launched herself at us. Why aren't you asleep? Marcus asked, scooping her up. Not tired. Tell me story. It's way past bedtime, please. The story about the gym? Marcus looked at me. We'd told Emma a kid-friendly version of how we got together. She loved hearing about the magical parking lot where Daddy told Papa he loved him. Okay, I said. But then you have to sleep. We tucked her into bed, Charlie curling up at her feet, and told her our story. The basketball games, the friendship, the moment everything changed. And then they got married and had you, Marcus finished. The end. Best story, Emma murmured, already half asleep. Best story, I agreed. Later in our own bed, Marcus wrapped his arms around me. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For being patient with me? For waiting while I figured myself out? For loving me through all of it? Thank you for being brave enough to tell me. For changing both our lives? We changed them together. Yeah, we did. I thought about Jake, about the scared kid we'd been, about the life we'd built. It hadn't been easy. There had been tears and fights and moments of doubt, but it had been worth it. Every difficult conversation, every awkward family dinner, every challenge we'd faced, because at the end of it all, we had this. A home full of love, a daughter who knew she was wanted, a community of friends and family who supported us, each other. I love you, I said into the darkness. I love you too. Always have. Always will. Outside, the world kept turning. But here, in this bed, in this home we'd built, everything was exactly as it should be. The gym was being demolished. They were building luxury condos, because of course they were. Marcus and I stood in the parking lot one last time, watching the construction crew prepare. End of an era, Marcus said. Remember when you told me you loved me right here? How could I forget? Best decision I ever made. Second best. Oh yeah. What was the first? Marrying me, he laughed. Fair point. Emma ran up to us. Now 9 years old and full of opinions about everything. Can we go now? This is boring. One more minute, Em. You guys are so sentimental. We're allowed to be. This place is important to us. She rolled her eyes, but came to stand between us, taking both our hands. Fine. But then, Can we get ice cream? Deal. Our son Leo, adopted when Emma was 4, was with Marcus's parents for the day. At 5, he was a ball of energy that required tag team parenting to survive. I can't believe it's been 10 years, Marcus said, staring at the old gym building. 17, if you count the friendship years. Best 17 years of my life. Even the hard parts. Especially the hard parts. They made the good parts better. The construction crew started moving equipment. It was time to go. Say goodbye, I told Emma. Goodbye, magical parking lot, she said dutifully. Then, in a whisper to me, why is it magical again? Because this is where your dad's love story really started. That's so cheesy, you love it. Maybe a little. We walked back to the car. A family of 3 about to become a family of 4 again when Leo came home. Our life was chaotic and loud and nothing like what either Marcus or I had imagined when we were younger. It was so much better, Marcus said, stopping me before we got in the car. Thank you. You already thanked me earlier. Thanking you again. For everything. For our life. For our kids. For still being here after 10 years. Where else would I be? I don't know. But I'm grateful you chose here. With me, always with you. We kissed in that parking lot one last time, our daughter making exaggerated gagging sounds in the background. And I thought about how far we'd come. From 2 scared boys hiding their feelings to 2 men building a family. From secrets and fear to openness and love. It hadn't been the easy path. But it had been our path. And I wouldn't change a single moment. Ice cream time? Emma asked. Ice cream time, Marcus confirmed. We drove away from that parking lot, that chapter of our lives closing, and headed toward whatever came next. Together. Always together. Because some love stories start in shower stalls and parking lots, and the best ones never really end. They just keep evolving, deepening, growing into something more beautiful than you ever imagined. This was ours. And it was perfect. Asterisk, asterisk. Author's note. Asterisk, asterisk. This story explores themes of self-discovery, coming out later in life, found family, and building authentic relationships. It's meant to reflect the reality that coming out and finding love isn't always a straightforward journey. It's messy, it's complicated and deeply human. But it's also beautiful, hopeful, and worth fighting for. To anyone reading this who sees themselves in these characters, your story matters. Your timeline is valid, and there is a community waiting to welcome you.